Some people doubt the authenticity of my autism, and that's a problem. I dream one day of getting governmental autism bucks, and so I need to learn how to portray a more authentic Spurg facade, at least as the average person would understand it. And as such, I've been told, and through my research I have found, the best way to do that is to get unreasonably into Sonic the Hedgehog. But where do I start? I know there's been a new movie released recently, number 3, I believe. Should I start there? I don't know. I think I need to watch a review first to find out if I should watch it. You went too far into the government autism bucks hole and ended up on a no-fly list. We'll know if we can trust Matt Walsh's opinion if he has a proper section commenting on the color of Sonic's arms. I've heard from a connoisseur that is of key importance. Not just whether they're skin-colored or they're blue, but I believe the particular shade is of importance. Let's see if he touches on that.
When a man becomes a father, he's called upon to make sacrifices for his family. And often these will be small sacrifices. Sometimes they'll be larger, though, more significant.
I will never give up my breast milk. Doesn't matter how nourishing the excretions of a loving father are for their child. My breast milk is mine.
And on even rarer occasion, the duties of fatherhood will require him to make the kind of sacrifice that, up to that moment, he would have thought himself incapable of making. These are the moments when a man must become a hero, and when he must lay his very life on the line.
And in laying down your life, you truly live, and you truly learn. Maybe you even learn to trust your feelings.
And this may take many forms. Perhaps he's rushing into a burning building to rescue his child from the fire. Perhaps he has to pull his loved one away from the path of a...
That's a one you got to be careful about. I had a friend in high school. He, I don't know, he had some sort of complex. He really wanted to be seen as a hero. He really cared about... I'm not saying he was immoral and did bad things, but his focus seemed to be more on being viewed as a moral person or being viewed as a hero more than just being moral or being heroic. And he'd always say, I say always, but not always, but frequently, he would suggest to me, or I heard him many times say, he wants to die rushing into a building to save someone. That's dumb as hell. You want to run into a building and commit suicide by running untrained and unprepared into a building so then a firefighter has to deal with your shit. If you think that's heroic, the path is become a firefighter and then not die and save multiple people from buildings. He has this fantasy that's the way he wants to die. If you die that way during the act, you've probably just screwed someone over. Don't do that. What the hell? Yeah, I want to die protecting my family. Really? I'd prefer to simply live protecting my family and successfully prevent harm from coming to Lucky Bee. Personally, that's my preference. I want to die of old age having successfully protected my girlfriend on any occasion that requires it. Carry on. Sacrifice such as running into a burning building. What else might you have to do?
Speeding train because they've been tied to the tracks by bandits or whatever. Or most harrowing of all, he may be compelled by his paternal obligations to go to a movie theater and watch Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now,
No. A real hero pirates Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I haven't been to a cinema since 2016. I don't know how much tickets cost now, and I certainly have no idea how much they cost in the US. I imagine they are high, like daylight robbery, if what I've heard from people going to cinemas is correct. And popcorn, of course, is criminal. The price you pay for popcorn. That's money you could spend on your children's education, okay?
And in that situation, would of course much prefer to be engulfed in flames or hit by a speeding train, but that would be the coward's way out. He endures Sonic the Hedgehog 3 for the sake of his children, whom he loves. And over Christmas break, that is precisely the situation that I found myself in. Now, for the record,
my condolences go out to Matt Walsh. Although, I have heard that Jim Carrey pops off as Robotnik.
I greatly enjoyed most of the time that I spent with my wife and kids these past 2 weeks. We had a lot of fun together. We played football, we played outside, we shot BB guns, we played
I thought we shot babies.
Card games and board games. I completely wrecked my whole family in Monopoly 2 nights in a row. Wasn't even close. We took the kids ice skating. I was ice skating. My wife and kids were left dumb.
Come on. How many pillows did you strap to your ass? What percentage of time at the ice skating rink was spent grabbing the edge? You can be real with us. You can be vulnerable here.
Struck by my gracefulness and elegance on the ice. They didn't say that, but I know they were thinking it. These were all wonderful experiences, yet things took a rather distressing turn on the final Thursday of the break when my 8-year-old son and
Chris
fed the streamer a $5 super big. I think you and I are like a lot of people and not going to theaters. Are popcorn prices dropping? Why not?
Are you asking in terms of like there's less there's less demand, so the price of the popcorn has to go down or something? Is that what you're suggesting? I wouldn't imagine it would go down. The idea is they have you over a damn barrel and can charge what they want. Captive audience. It's tourist trap mechanics, tourist trap strats.
5-year-old daughter asked
I don't know though.
me to take them to go see Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and I did. God help me. God help me. I did. Now, before I offer my brief review of this thing that I hesitate to call a film, I must first acknowledge, in all fairness, I never saw Sonic the Hedgehog 1 or Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It's possible that one cannot fully appreciate the narrative complexities of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 without having seen the first 2 chapters in this epic Hedgehog saga.
I'm sure. With how deep people go down the Sonic rabbit hole, there must be something to it, right? I think you've got to watch Sonic 1, 2, and you've got to clock a certain number of hours gooning to Rule 34 of, what's that rabbit called? Cream?
Maybe the other 2 movies are works of staggering artistic genius that would elevate the 3rd installment and lend it the sort of context necessary for me to have appreciated it and enjoyed it instead of feeling like I was being waterboarded with high fructose corn syrup the whole time.
Yeah, it sounds like a kid's movie. It's not... It's not for you, bro. Sorry, is his cup Sweet Baby Gang? Excuse me?
But I doubt it. I mean, this is the kind of movie where Jim Carrey plays 2 characters. One is the evil villain, and the other is the evil villain's evil grandfather in old age makeup. And the 2 break into an impromptu dance routine that makes no narrative sense but lasts approximately 87 minutes. It's the kind of movie where those same characters before the dance routine actually look directly into the camera and explain that they're being played by the same actor.
Yeah, it's for like kids. Is it not? I would presume. Yeah.
I must assume, and I think assume safely.
Sonic the Hedgehog did not intellectually challenge me. He's doing a bit, but I feel like it's even recognizing that he's trying to be funny. It's not hitting. It's too silly. This is sillier than anything Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm sure, could present.
Nothing in the other 2 films that would make this one any less obnoxious or horrifically stupid. I'm not going to bother explaining the plot of this film in any detail. I wasn't tracking it that closely, to be honest. I was mostly fighting to stay awake. This is the kind of movie that bores you to the point of putting you to sleep, but also annoys you at the same time. It's kind of an odd combination to be both sleepy and deeply irritated simultaneously. As for the plot...
No, that's like when you realize you've been roofied. Is that not the sensation of feeling real sleepy but also real irritated?
I can only tell you that Sonic is the good hedgehog, which you may know. There's also an evil hedgehog voiced by Keanu Reeves, who, and I like
Sorry, I was not familiar with this movie's game. Keanu is voicing Shadow, I presume? Unless there's some other hedgehog, I'm aware there are several.
Keanu Reeves, by the way, but like every other voice actor in this film and most voice actors in most children's films that have been made for the past 20 years, he has no talent as a voice actor and doesn't understand how to act with just your voice. But
yeah, sounds about right. Sounds like I recognize that guy casting, but I think there is value just in and of itself, regardless of the quality of the voice acting, to have the John Wick guy being Shadow the Hedgehog.
Famous, so that's good enough, I suppose. So Sonic has to stop the evil hedgehog.
That's often how it works.
And his evil cohorts, that's the Jim Carrey dancing duo I mentioned earlier, from blowing up the world with a big laser. And, this has been the evil plan of every evil villain in every blockbuster franchise film for the past 3 decades.
It's called the Monomyth. You never studied the classic?
It's a formula that this movie is not interested in deviating from. This is not the sort of movie that deviates from formulas. Now, if you're wondering why...
Sonic did not subvert my expectations. Yeah? Someone needs to explain to Matt that if a Sonic movie genuinely surprised anyone, there would be riots. Many parents of autistic children would be killed in their sleep. they can't do it. It's a national security risk. It has to be exactly what people expect.
I, the evil Hedgehog, and the two Jim Carreys want to explode the world and murder 8 billion people in a cosmic blast that they will also die in. It's because the older Jim Carrey's granddaughter, I think, was killed.
Yeah, that's a thing.
And now he wants to commit murder-suicide because life isn't worth living.
Hey, a lot of crazy people think like that, all right? I don't know if he's accurately conveying the narrative and Mr. Robotnik's motives, but hey, maybe he's crazy. I don't know.
That's real. That's in the movie. He actually declares his suicidal intention as well. Now, if that seems like weirdly bleak and dark for a kid's movie where the characters bust out impromptu dance routines and randomly break the fourth wall.
Sounds almost like it's over the top, ridiculous, and goofy, like something a kid might say or do, right?
And constantly speak in internet lingo from 2019. There's a lot of that, by the way. Just as one example, at one point, Jim Carrey says, "Damn you, autocorrect." If it seems weirdly bleak and...
The way Matt Walsh delivered that line, he said that for his kids. This man knows more of the movies and paid more attention than he is pretending to have here. This man recites lines for his kids' entertainment. I promise you.
Dark for that kind of movie, it's because it is. This is a movie, like so many kids' movies these days, that schizophrenically darts back and forth from being ironic to painfully self-serious to goofy to earnest and so on and so on. It doesn't try to smooth over these tonal transitions with good writing or performances. The writing is just terrible, and the performances are atrocious across the board. Instead, it just flings it all against the wall haphazardly because these are all bullet points that the movie studio knows it has to hit. Because this movie, again, like so many...
He's not gonna be like, BlackRock wants this. He's not doing that. What is he
movies
doing?
These days is not the fulfillment of anyone's creative vision.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. It's like they have to fit the formula. Yeah, I presume the film had a significant budget. Yeah, it's going to be a pattern. You put money in, the more money you put in, the more desperate it is that you get money back. You stick with what works, and
it is just the product of a corporate algorithm. It is loud and ugly and obnoxious and disjointed because nobody who made the film actually cared about making a good film. And they have absolutely no respect for their audience.
But why is he successful, though? Also... Good. I don't respect children who want to see colorful hedgehogs zip around, and they shouldn't be respected.
I mean, this movie could have been made by AI. We are at a point. If they start making movies with AI, we would not know the difference because they've effectively been doing that for 20 years now.
I get these expressing that it's movies by numbers, but this is like a new level of engagement farming. He had to mention AI, didn't he? He's doing this. He's hitting the bullet points of what makes people respond. Gotta mention AI, taking over artists' jobs.
Now, you might respond here, as many people on Twitter did after I gave a very brief review of this film in a tweet on the site a few days ago. You might respond that, well, this movie isn't for me. It's for kids.
Yeah.
Well, first of all...
I have the mind of a 12-year-old.
Tell that to the other people in the theater with us. I can tell you that my...
I didn't watch a kid's movie. There were other adults with me.
Kids were by far the youngest people in attendance. There were multiple groups of adults.
Yeah.
Just adults, no kids. Whole groups of them who bought tickets.
Did they come in on like a really short bus?
To Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Also, tell it to the multiple grown adults who got angry at me on Twitter for not liking the movie. The funny thing is that there are a lot...
Suggests to me that, look, the people said it's not for you, it's for kids. The most important part of the statement there isn't that it's for kids, it's that you are not the audience. You've corrected them here. You've shown that they were not accurate enough in saying it's for kids. They should have said it's for kids and Christian-like individuals. The two possible demographics are not kids and adults.
A lot of those same people say, well, it's not for you, it's for kids. Why are you getting so upset about it then? Why are you tearfully defending a movie that you claim...
Ooh, fair enough. Fair enough to those people. Actually, you know what? There is more nuance to it. Because if they're defending it by saying it's for kids and they're into it, true.
It is not for you either. In fact, one person told me that my negative comments...
But as we know, there are perhaps more adult baby fetishists on the internet than you'd like to believe. Maybe they consider themselves to be a child deep down.
Had upset, and I'm repeating this phrase verbatim, had upset the, quote, Sonic community. Now, those are not kids who identify themselves as members of the Sonic community. My 8-year-old loves Sonic, but he's not on Twitter furiously defending the Sonic community.
As far as you know. You gotta check under his bed for that Sonic pride flag.
From
Ask your son if he has any Sonic OCs.
its detractors. So I agree that these kinds of movies are for kids, but I am not the one who needs to be told that. Okay? Second, and this is most important.
Fair angle to take it. Fair angle to take it. Okay.
And it shouldn't need to be explained, but really it does. And that's really my only point here. It is possible to make a children's movie that, although it's for children, is still a good, high-quality piece of art.
Yeah, as a parent, I'd think he would, not me as a parent, I'm not a parent, but you would think that, as a parent, Matt would desire more simply that there's more stuff in it for him. Like a classic thing is to, in kids' media, bake in stuff that will go over the kid's head and is for the adults, so that the adults don't want to kill themselves being forced to watch this stuff. You gotta slip in stuff for the parents, just so it's not full torture. That's more important than it being art.
I don't hate children's movies just because they're for children. Quite the opposite. As a father of 6, I've watched many children's movies. Okay, I've watched way more than the average person because I have so many kids. And I greatly appreciate the good ones. A few nights ago, just as an example, we watched...
Someone in chat bet that he's gonna say Shrek. I think he might name an old... I think it has to be older than Shrek. I think he's gonna name like classic Disney.
The movie Iron Giant with my kids, and that's...
Iron Giant, is that Pixar?
That's an animated children's film. It's also well written, beautifully illustrated, brilliantly performed, tonally consistent. It's funny and heartwarming, and at points it's sad, but it works all of that in a way that feels natural to the story. It's a children's film, and it's also a great film, one that I can watch and...
I watched it, but I watched it when I was of an appropriate age, I believe. Warner Bros, okay.
Also enjoy.
Oh, makes sense, because he's in Multiverses.
Because as it turns out, children's movies are not just for children. They're for parents too, or at least they should be. If a kid's movie or kid's show is so grating and so dumb and so unpleasant that parents can't stand to be in the same room while it's on.
Yeah, that's the stuff. That's what matters. This is what matters. It doesn't have to be the high art, though, okay?
That doesn't mean it's for kids. It isn't for kids. It isn't for anyone. It's just bad. And the fact that people say, well, of course it's bad, it's for kids, tells you everything you need to know about our culture. They act like it's ridiculous to expect the content produced for...
There's not, look, they're not saying, of course it's bad, it's for kids. They're saying, of course you didn't love it, it's for kids. Of course it didn't fully connect. I doubt that people saying, well, it's for kids, would also suggest it's garbage, right?
Kids to be high quality or to have any artistic merit whatsoever. But I tend to think exactly the opposite. I think content produced for kids should especially be high quality.
Plenty of people do that, but the people he's talking about here, he's suggesting that they are into it. He's suggesting that they are the same demographic that watches it are the people saying it's for kids. So presumably they must not think it sucks. This group that he's describing coming at him on Twitter, members of the Sonic community who want to defend the film and are saying it's for kids, they don't think it sucks, obviously.
And should especially have artistic merit, which is why I hated Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and why it is today, I must say, sadly.
Libs are not a big fan of having kids, while Walston must pop out 7 or so. What's the result in 20 years?
I mean, one might think it would result in it would give you a conservative demographic domination. But just look at Musk's kids, or at least one of them, at least in particular.
Cancel. Hey, YouTube, thanks.
Wait, what did he say?
I must say, sadly, cancel. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my...
You've not experienced enough retards online? Yeah, but if it's just retards online saying it, then this commentary is still worthless. Retards online are saying it's okay that it's bad because it's for kids. What does that say about our culture? Not a lot.
Ollie McCoy fed the streamer $2 super bit. Tim, when are you having kids, brother? Thoughtful face.
Oh, when are you having kids? I thought you said, when are you having his brother? I was like, I'm not gonna fuck his mom. What the hell? Why are you calling him Tim Walsh? I have not merged with this. I have not merged with him. I will not be having a brother for him with his mother. Where did this come from? Where did Tim Walsh come from? There is no individual called Tim Walsh in existence. All right? I'd be shocked if, merely on a visual level, Sonic 3 isn't impressive. The opposite of Tim, he's all hair. I would debunk that, but I would get banned from Twitch. I can debunk that claim, but I would get in trouble. Although maybe, if he has all hair up here and then his body is completely smooth, then he would be my opposite.